So, I'm writing my introduction here, and I'm just going through the last couple days information, and I'm trying to think of like what am I suffering from? There's a certain amount of suffering when putting out information with expectations, yes, but there's a certain amount of suffering when you're resisting what must come to pass. And so, part of me knows that we live in a very intolerant world, intolerant to new information, intolerant to diversity, intolerant to new thought processes. And yet another part of me wants to save those who are intolerant. That's the fight within me, is that knowing that there are people out there that are so intolerant of me and my information and what I stand for, I still want to save them, right? Okay. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of stupid, right? But not really. But then I look at the intolerant world of the dogmatic, spiritual, religious, political, dogmatic people. And then I also look at, and have been focusing on a lot of the religious world because of the amount of intolerance that's laced in with the spiritually aggressive. And they happen to have intolerance to the new information that's coming out there. And there's a major purge. There's a major purge of the intolerant. So then why am I trying to save the intolerant? Why am I trying to help the intolerant? Well, I'm not. Now I figured out that when I'm writing my book, I'm not writing for the intolerant. I'm writing for those who are able to take in new information. And this is where it's so difficult, is that I cannot be attached to an expectation that someone who is closed, who is actively destroying themselves, yes, through all the different therapies, whether it's the Gerson therapy or it's the chemotherapy therapy, I can't be attached to trying to save them or try to change their mind or try to sell them on the J juice and all of that. Remember, we're in a purge of the intolerant. And those that can't take in new information are intolerant. So why would I want to save them, right? Why would I even have part of me think that that is even a conquest? I don't even think I used that word correctly, but why would that even be a focus? Why would that even be part of my paradigm, my new paradigm? It's not. And so the New World Order, just so you guys know, the New World Order knows exactly what they're doing. You can't get mad at the New World Order. I'm so serious. It dawned on me because the war within and the war out there is trying to convert those who are completely can't take in new information. They are so resistant to new information, and they don't like people that are different. You can call it racism. You can call it all the isms. And you can call them that they're discriminatory, not only in the food supply, but also in everything else that makes up the politics, religion, and the science world. And so then you realize, oh, wow, the New World Order is really doing a massive purge on the intolerant, however that manifests. And that can manifest in the scientific dogmas. That can manifest in the religious dogmas. And what do I mean by religious? When someone is part of a church, synagogue, I don't know, mosque, okay. Though maybe there are some that might be able to take on new information, but I don't know. We'll see. Because there is major programming in the religious world, like major, and then also the political world. And so the whole JJ meta mentality are for those who can take on new information, can even contemplate on saying, you know what? Do I need my religion? Do I need my politics? Do I need my scientific belief system? Do I need my horoscopes? But can you still stay alive indefinitely and still take on your dogmatic thought processes? Do you know the base foundation of politics, religion, and science is the social networks? You wouldn't have politics, religion, or the scientific dogmas if it wasn't for all of your people that share the same beliefs, that either hang out together or online together, actively promoting something or demonizing something else, or trying to convert someone either into Democrat to Republican, Republican to Democrat, into pro-V or anti-V, or into, hey, take on my religion and let me convert you to this, 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 and this. That's the very foundation of politics, religion, and science. It's actively converting people. Actively trying to demonize or promote something or worship something. And so there is no development of a new thought process when you're stuck looping in those dogmatic ways of conducting your life. Because even the words that you're using to convert people into whatever belief system is still holding you captive. It's still causing you to want to be cured, to want to be out there, to want to be doing something that is promoting your politics, religion, or your scientific lifestyle and belief system. And that also means going out there and trying to convert the world. And so it now makes sense that the cancer survivors are also part of the religious world, and they're doing the circuit. They are out there with everybody and their mother, trying to convert somebody into doing into whatever, motivational courses that they're selling. Because they survived cancer, now they have, the key to success. Okay. But then the people that follow them are also into the worship. But then you have to let that happen. I have to let that happen. You know why? Because remember, we're in an active purge right now. Those that demonize or worship a person, place, or thing, I can't see them surviving this next world. This next world is going to be for the autonomous, the relatively independent, the freaking strong, and then those that can change their lifestyle and their belief system and even their social lifestyle, the way they do things. And also bringing in different words in their vocabulary. And so when I'm seeing the patterns out there of those that are in the religious world and going after all the cures and the remedies and the protocols and either the Gerson method or the chemotherapy, radiation, cannabis method, it's all the same stuff. And so then I'm like, whoa, the worshiping. Yeah, and that's the thing about worshiping and demonizing a person, place, or thing, element, or microbe. It's all the same characteristics of the dogmatic iconicizing a person, place, or thing and looking for validation outside of yourself. And the greed, that's the main thing, is the greed of those who found a platform, a voice around the destruction of their own body through the different methods, because they thought that what they went through saved their life, when in reality they could have just fed themselves and brought in more of a salt diet and dealt with the pain. But that's the greed of humanity. It puts on a happy face. It puts on a sexy face. It puts on an angry face. It puts on an anxiety face, a depressed, crying face. The extreme emotions. That's the marketing. And so that's why I said, that I've stripped away all of those emotions. And now I'm looking at things like, wow, like I can't even care. Because when I look and see that some of the, people's pages on my Facebook, right? And I see that they're selling all their supplements, all their stuff. And I want to go on there and convert them. And then I'm like, you know what? And then I see that they are putting scripture all over their Facebook. I mean, serious scripture. And I see what exactly their belief systems are, that I'm like, oh, now it makes sense. What am I going to do? There's no point in me saying anything. Because, from that point of view, there is a major amount of intolerance to new information. If they're putting scripture all over their page, or they have a belief system around the star seeds or the ascension world or the scientific world, there's no fucking way they're going to understand where I'm coming from. There's no fucking way. And I finally came to terms with that. Oh, that was an awakening on my end. But it's releasing those emotional manipulations around all the dogmas within the politics, religion, and science world. And knowing that, no, I know I can't reach them. There are people in the religious world that will use my protocol completely the antithesis of the intentions. They'll use it as a cure. I already see it, I already know it. It's been happening. And I pointed it out. I'm not going to call them on it, but they know who they are. You're right, Odd. Yeah, screw them. And so this is the New World Order's purge of the intolerant people. And sometimes I get on my Facebook and I go on some of these major influencers, these activists, and they're all, for the Bitcoin and all this other stuff. And I have said some stuff because they're major influencers, but I'm realizing, you know what? Even the New World Order is trying to get rid of the activists who are out there just completely spinning their wheels on stuff that they can't change. Oh, but they're out there in the community hanging out with a bunch of people, taking on all their remedies and their detoxes and their therapies and all that. And they're gaining a lot of inflammation, a lot of antagonism, or a lot of the antibodies against their environment and the food supply because of the plant-based therapies and the elemental-based therapies and the injections they're doing and all that stuff. And so, the New World Order is getting rid of all the intolerant people who don't understand how to change within a new simulation. And when I'm introducing something different like salt and water and feeling pain and dealing with eating all the food and the food supply, maybe staying home, maybe more than not, and realizing how aggressive this virus is, and I'm getting a bunch of backlash and a bunch of stone-faced, you're stupid, Jillian, you're this and you're that, who am I to go and try to convert them? Those of you who understand the JJ meta mentality have already told me you did, and your actions have shown it. You're peeling away the layers, and you're telling me you're peeling away the layers, and even you sharing some of my information when you can, and you get it. Okay? And I know it's a process. It's a very slow process for a lot of people. It's fast for me because I'm a type O. I don't have all this. I don't have all the surface marker antigen A and B, all those T cells massively producing the B cell memories for the type A and the type B. So it was easier for me to deprogram than those who are type A and B who have extensive programming, though John is an exception because he's type B. And he sees that what he needs to deal with, and it's going to be a long process for him. But there are a lot of people who are heavily programmed in their blood types, and even those who are type O, who can't seem to get rid of the B cell memories because, yes, it is what has given them their jobs and occupation. And if they were to change the programming now, it would get in the way of them producing at the level that they are used to. And I completely understand that. But I'm giving you different ways to plan for your eventual assimilation to the new world. But you have to be strategic about it. And you have to be open. And even the small, slight changes that you're doing will turn into the big changes. And when I see even little bits of improvement or little bits of change, I mean, a little bit, like my husband was saying, I bought healthier food. He's not buying the Michelina's, frozen food. He's trying to buy the lean cuisine and maybe more of the fruits and the cut up fruits and vegetables and all that. I'm like, wow, honey. And he's actively trying to just get into a different mindset of eating a different way. And that's great. That right there shows me that there's some kind of slight change. And that's what I like, is when I see people actively doing even the little bits that they can within their heavily programmed world. And that's huge for my husband. And then the people in the Jilly Juice world, Odd and John and Carol and Pip and Janet and Peterson and those of you that are following and doing your likes and contributing in some way, shape, or form, you guys are showing that, you're seeing that there's definitely something going on here. And then there's others that are just like, same old shit. And they're using Jilly Juice as a cure. Or they're, or they've been next to me and they just can't seem to share my information with the people in their world as far as on their Facebook. And so, or don't want to talk about, different breakthrough infections. But that's me trying to fit a round peg in a square hole. That's why I don't have any prisoners. Because I realize that I have huge expectations with anyone that I work with. Huge. And so I can't be working with people because I will expect massive amounts of edification. And if I don't see it at the level that I want to see it, then it's like, well, what are we doing here? What is your true intentions here? And I don't want to have that. I don't want to put that on anybody. Okay? So that's why I say the way I show I care about you guys is I take no prisoners, I release anyone, and then I also give you all the information so you can make the best choice possible and plan out your life accordingly so that way you can survive this and you know that you can, and that okay, while you're trying to do your job for the next 5 years and you retire in 6 years, that you do your best you can to get through the next 5 years, and then on that 6th year, when you're getting your $2,000, $3,000 a month, and you're living in the lower SES socioeconomic status area, and you can afford to live on $2,000 a month, now you can finally figure out how you're going to now level up to the environment and release all that old programming, because you had to be cured to be out there. To do your job, you had to be cured. You had to deal with the programming in your body, as conflicting as it was. And even when you were starving, you didn't know you were starving because you have all these antibodies that are attacking the nutrients in the food supply, you still were able to hang on. And now that you're retired, now you can go and finally feed your body and release the old programming and finally conduct your life to the new world. And you were strategic about it. Maybe you put money aside. Maybe you figured out what you need to do to be technologically inclined in advance so you can handle the delivery services. And then you knew you were going to have to deal with some mucus, pains, and you had to eat food and you had to feed, and you couldn't do too many of the social engagements. I mean, that's what I'm trying to prepare you for, is this is the new world. This is what's going to be in the new world. 7.9 billion people mutating viruses left and right, and they're taking their plant-based, elemental-based therapies, attacking your ability to absorb nutrition and or be able to assimilate to your environment. And so you have to actively produce proteins on your end to then defend yourself against somebody else's therapies. That's why not being social as much is going to help you, so that way your body isn't on defense all the time, creating inflammation, allergies, and then eventually diagnosable conditions. And so this is how I show people that I care about you, that I care about, is everyone on my Facebook page is willing to listen, who are open to new information, and anyone in my immediate world, like my husband and my dog. Myself and my husband are the most important in my world, and then all of you who are open to new information, I will give you everything that I have on a daily fucking basis, and I will try to find the best way to explain it in the easiest way possible so you get it without trying to demonize you and what you're doing, and without trying to convert you, and without getting mad that you're not doing what I'm asking you to do. And if I am having high expectations from somebody, then I release them, and so that way they're not suffering under the tyranny of Jillian, because I know I'm tyrannical. Okay? I know it. Believe me, I've made people cry, and I didn't mean to make them cry, but I'm intense. And there are people that are very sensitive. And I'm sorry that I've made people cry or made them feel like but it is who I am. That's why I can't work with people, because I'm super influential, like super influential. And I don't want to piss off the wrong person next to me. So that's why I work autonomously. And so eventually you guys will get to that point and be super influential in your world without cannibalizing somebody else. Because those are the major lessons that I've dealt with, is that, I've cannibalized people. Absolutely. Not with the mean intention of anything, you know, but it's just, that's who I am. So I just wanted to give you guys that realization around this, and that we are in a massive purge of the intolerant, and that looks like politics, religion, and scientific people. But we already know the scientific folk who are dogmatic are going to be purged. And I've been looking at the religious folk a lot, and they have a huge presence in the intolerance world, not changing the lifestyle and belief systems. And yeah, the politics, well, I don't know. Some people are, you know, if they can change back and forth from Democrat to Republican, then they might take on some new information. If you can go from pro-vac to anti-vac, then you might be able to take on some new information because you're able to switch sides. Okay, not saying that you would be at all anti or pro, but you understand both arguments and can articulate them. Maybe you don't want to because it's just a little bit too confrontational given the last, 10, 15 years of one side or the other. But that's the thing, is that if you're able to change being anti to pro and pro to anti as easily as I have, then you have the potential to take on even my information. But if you can't even contemplate on releasing your ethnicity, your religion, even family and friends, I don't know how you're going to take on the whole JJ meta mentality and the whole lifestyle behind it. Because the lifestyle behind the JJ meta mentality is fitting in with the new world. The metaverse, the virtual reality delivery services, that now finally exercising the brain, not using the body as a marketing piece, as an exploitation tool. And that's what has been our world, is everything's been about the body, but the brain has been ignored. And so you have really cute girls in their bikinis selling everything with their body, as well as men in their huge muscles and their six packs and in their thongs going out there and trying to find, or trying to sell something or another. And that world is falling away. Now it's going to be the intellectuals. And that means that it's not about the body and the physical interaction with people. It's about your brain. That's what social media is about, is figuring out who's going to be this and who's going to use their body to do everything. All right, bye.